Good morning. This is Pastor Zach with the Goodland United Methodist Church with your morning devotion for Thursday, August 17th. Today we're going to look at the Gospel of John in the 20th chapter, verses 24 to 25. But Thomas, who is called the twin, one of the 12, was not with them when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see the mark of the nails in his hands, and put my finger in the mark of the nails and my hand in his side, I will not believe." Many of us are probably familiar with the story of Thomas, Doubting Thomas as he's called. Thomas, the one disciple who stubbornly refused to believe until he saw with his own eyes the risen Christ. If only he had listened to the others, but no, he had to see for himself. After all, we're told seeing is believing. He has to ask questions, he has to make sure. But let's really look at Thomas. Is he really all that different from the other disciples? Let's think back to the Easter story. Mary went to the tomb as it was empty, so she ran back and told Peter and John. Did they believe her right away? No, they went to the tomb to see for themselves. It isn't until they go inside and see the cloth and linens lying empty in the tomb that they believe. What is it they believe, though? That Jesus has risen? No. We are told they didn't understand the scripture that he must rise from the dead. They returned back home knowing only that the tomb is empty. Even Mary, when Jesus appears to her directly, did not recognize him at first. And even after she does recognize him, she goes back to tell the disciples, but we're given no indication that they do anything about it. In fact, in the other Gospels, it tells us they did not believe what she told them. As Luke puts it, the words seemed to them an idle tale, and they did not believe him. Eventually, Thomas gets to see Jesus face to face, to put his hands in the nail marks, to put his hand in his side to believe. But Jesus says, "Should you not have believed all along?" We are looking for certainty in our uncertain times. What's around us gives us fear and anxiety, and we wonder if the promises of God will actually happen, just like those disciples did after Jesus was crucified and buried. And then we want to touch, we want to see, we want to feel just like Thomas did. But this story tells us to remember that Jesus' response to the disciples was, "Peace be with you." Peace be with you, to give them a calming sense, to make them recognize who he is and what he is. And in those words, we become aware of his presence and reminded of the promises to hold on to, the promises to look forward to. That even if we cannot feel and see, we can know the presence. We can know that God's promises are good. So in the midst of uncertain times, in our search for certainty and assurances, they've always been there. These gospel lessons teach us that Thomas's doubt helps us know to believe, helps us to believe even when we can't see. Have a blessed day.